Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to the Grant Center as we are just moments away from the start of today's concluding game of this doubleheader here at the Grant Center. In about 3.5 minutes, we've got the Averett University Cougars taking on the USA South leading Monarchs of Methodist University. I'm Davin Wilson, former Assistant Sports Information Director and broadcast extraordinaire, bringing you the game here. Averett coming off a big win against Greensboro yesterday that saw the Cougars defeat the Pride by a score of 108-90, and to help them snap a 3-game losing streak that started against conference powerhouse Maryville. And meanwhile, Methodist coming in here looking to keep things moving along, as it right now has a 14-4 overall record and 9-1 mark in the USA South. So, ladies and gentlemen, give me just a second to run down and grab a program and a drink, and I'll be right back with you guys. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. Ran down to the concession stand, got a Coca-Cola and a program, and we are ready to get things started off here as we are a minute from the start of today's game. Methodist comes into this contest 14-4, 9-1 in the USA South. They beat Ferrum College yesterday, 77-63. Meanwhile, as I mentioned earlier, the Cougars are coming off a 109-90 win against Greensboro College yesterday. In the first meeting between these two teams on January 6th, the Monarchs were victorious 81-71 down in Fayetteville. So we're going to take a look here at some big players for each side. You've got James Contreras, who scored 30 points and added 6 rebounds in the game against the Pride yesterday. Meanwhile, Darren Kettner had 12 points and 2 rebounds in the win against Greensboro. So taking a look at the inside the numbers here, Averett enters this game with 705 total rebounds on the season. So meanwhile, we're going to take a look at some of the key players here for the Monarchs. You've got Davion Abareno, 19.4 points per game average, 6.4 rebounds per game. Then you got Brian Rouse, who averages 17.3 points per game. Got Troynell Reese, who comes in averaging 11.4 points a game. And then Jackson Whitley, who comes in averaging 12.9. So Davion Abareno and Jackson Whitley, two players that Averett is very used to seeing. As Abareno comes in, he is a senior. And then meanwhile, Whitley is also a senior as well. They are 2 of 5 seniors on this Monarchs team who currently lead the USA South. The Monarchs are coached by Davis Smith. He is in his 18th season. Meanwhile, the Cougars are coached by David DeWino, who is in his 4th season. So another big player here, probable starters for the Cougars. Got James Contreras, number 2, Ian Best, number 12, Timothy Henry. Ian Best, number 10, Timothy Henry, number 12, number 13, Darren Kettner, and then number 24, Harrison Cochran, who had a big game against Greensboro yesterday. Career high 11 points, knocked down a bunch of huge threes in the third quarter that really kind of helped Averett pull away and helped Averett to the victory. So always a good game when these two teams meet each other. And take a look here at the all-time record. Averett is 42-40 all-time against Methodist, including a 81-71 loss to the Monarchs earlier this month. Now we are keeping a watch on the records. Very unlikely that Contreras will reach this mark in the season, but he is a little rough. He's roughly about 700 points away from being the top all-time scorer here at Averett. DeMarcus Morrison, a Danville, Virginia native, currently a member of the 96 and 98 GW basketball team, currently holds that record with 1,937 points. Meanwhile, Contreras has some pretty familiar company in the top 15 as two of his former teammates, Bradley Robinson, 2012-2016, 1,334 points, is good enough for third, and Charles Bryant's 1,304 is good enough for fifth. So we're just moments away from getting things started, and they are started, as it's going to be Methodist coming down with the ball to start things off on the tip-off. It's actually going to be Averett. The white jerseys threw me off there for a second, so it's Contreras to Henry. Henry trying to drive in. He puts his shot up. It's good. Gets it over Jackson Whitley, who is an opposing presence, 6'9". But in the meantime, Henry is also 6'3", so Henry has some size to go along with that as well. So right now, Troynell Reese with the ball. Gets it into Whitley. Whitley will draw the foul, as it's going to be number 12, Ian Best, getting called for the foul. His first personal, team first. And that's going to send Jackson Whitley to the line, with the Monarchs facing a 2-0 deficit, and make it 2-1 now, as Whitley will knock down his first free throw of the game. And Whitley's second shot falls as well, and we are now knotted up here at 2. So Contreras getting the ball down the court, trying to make something happen. Contreras over to Cochran. Cochran with the long ball, no good. Methodist coming down with the rebound. It's number 24, Reese. Reese, a quick restart, gives it to Rouse, who pulls up for the three, no good. Reese coming down with the rebound again, gets it over to Ray Hall. Ray Hall over to number 22, Ibarreno. Number 3, Rouse, back to Ibarreno. So Ibarreno trying to make something happen with Cochran in his face. So it's going to be number 23, Ray Hall. Ray Hall driving in. He's going to get the ball out to Ibarreno. His shot's no good. Kettner battles for the rebound. Both sides saying it went out on the other guy. And in the end, Averett will be given possession of the ball. So now Best coming down with the ball, trying to make something happen. He gets it out to Contreras. Contreras trying to find something in the lane, kicks it out to Darren Kettner. Kettner into Henry. Henry a turnaround J, and it's good. And Henry now has all 4 of the Cougars' points to start things off here, as Averett has gotten out to a 4-2 lead now. It's going to be number 23, Hall, with the ball. I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it. So Hall trying to make something happen. Well guarded, gets it over to Whitley. Whitley, an over-the-top pass to Ibarreno. Shot no good. Kettner comes down with the ball. Best with the quick restart. He's driving in. Best gets up. No good. Contreras there for the rebound. No good. Henry with the attempted tip in. No good. It's going to be number 3, Rouse, with it. Rouse gets it over to Ibarreno. And Ibarreno is whistled for, will draw the foul, as Lewis Cochran whistled for the foul. And that will send that will send Reese to the line for a pair of shots. Reese comes into this game an 80% free throw shooter on the season. 80% in conference, that is, 75% overall. He will make the first, and it's now 4-3 in favor of the Cougars. So Reese, his second shot falls in, and we've now got a tie game, 4-4, 17-45. It's been a while since I've seen this Methodist team. You'll have to give me a few minutes to get adjusted to their roster changes. Kettner over to Cochran. Cochran over to Contreras. Contreras trying to drive in the lane, kicks it back out to Kettner. Kettner pulls up a three, and it's nothing but net. And a great shot there by Kettner as he had the 6'7" Reese in his face. But he will get over Reese's outstretched arms to finish the basket, 7-4. Going to be number 22, Ayabareno right now with the ball. Ayabareno back over to Rouse. Rouse to Whitley. Whitley back to Rouse. Rice, a nice inside pass. Kettner there with a better steal. Gets it down to Best. Best finishes. 9-4 Averett. 16:53 remaining in the first half. So Hall right now with the ball. I'm going to have fun saying that all night tonight. I can tell you that much. Hall over to Rouse. Rouse back over to Hall. Hall inside to Ayabareno. Ayabareno back over to Hall. Hall over to Rouse. Rouse pulls up for the tray. No good. Good for him, though. Henry with the rebound. Henry bounce pass to Kettner. Kettner driving in. And he tried to get the pass off to Best. Good defense there by Rouse as Ralph is there and intercepted. He's going to get that one over to Hall. Hall driving in all by himself, and he finishes 9-6. 16-13. Methodist on a 4-0 run right now. So Best over to Kettner. Kettner back to Contreras. Contreras moving in. He gives it to Henry, and Henry a long ball, and Henry perfect form as he nails a three. And Henry now has a two. Henry now has 7 of Averett's 4 points. As Henry's foot was on the line as he came down. Hall over to Rouse. Rouse back over to Hall. Hall over to Reese. Reese inside to Whitley. Whitley into Ayabareno. No good there. Battle for the rebound ensues. Averett gets the defensive board. Timothy Henry. Henry to Cochran. Cochran over to Contreras. Contreras with a spin move. And Whitley. And they're going to say Contreras was fouled. Ray Hall getting the foul. We're going to have a timeout on the court. We're going to take it with him here, but keep things locked right here on the Averett Sports Network. And welcome back here to the Grand Center. As we are coming out of the timeout, Contreras will go to the line for 2 shots. Averett holding on to an 11-6 lead. 15:27 left. Contreras sinks the first, 12-6. So Contreras went a perfect 11-11 down the stretch in a game earlier this season against Eastern Mennonite University. That helped him grab a program high 42 points, breaking Morrison's record of 41. So Hall right now, Vince Contreras into the game for Averett. along with number 40, Raymond Bullock III. Also, Austin DeLucia and Jalen Burnett into the game. So Whitley under the basket. Whitley, a nice hook shot. Will get it to fall. 12-8 is now the score. Jalen Burnett with the ball. Jalen Burnett, a transfer coming into Averett. So Contreras is going to take the jumper from the free throw line. No good. Bullock using his size and body to come down with that big board. And ladies and gentlemen, coming in at 6'4", 198 pounds. Bullock is the prototypical form you want out of a baseball player. So Contreras out of the game. Montre Cash coming in now. So I think head coach David Duino wants a little bit of an inside game in there to go along with DeLucia and Burnett, both on the outside who are good at shooting the three. And Cash is going to get whistled for the 5 seconds. For 5 seconds. And Methodist will take over. Rouse on the inbound. Rouse gets it over to Hall. And Averett right now running a press. And Burnett and Raymond Bullock will force David Smith into a timeout. Right now, Averett with a 12-8 lead, 14:39 remaining in the first half. And we're going to take a look here at some of these notes. As we've said earlier, Methodist comes in 9-1 in the USA South. That is a conference best. Meanwhile, Averett coming in at 3-5. They snapped a three-game losing streak, against Greensboro College yesterday with a big 18-point win that saw Greensboro come back, erase a double-digit deficit at the break. They momentarily took the lead, but it was Averett able to put together a complete performance and come back and hold off the Pride to snap that three-game skid. Of course, in that time, Maryville, Berea. So two very good teams that the Cougars lost to. And so that's going to be number 3. Rouse driving in. He's going to kick it back out to Ayabareno. And Ayabareno makes it 12-10, 14:22 remaining. So Jalen Burnett right now with the ball. So Burnett over to DeLucia. DeLucia back over to Vince Contreras, brother of James Contreras. Contreras is going to pull up, and he sinks his shot. 14-10, 14:05 now remaining. So Averett once again going with the press. And it's right now Rouse, number 23 Hall driving, no good. Ayabareno with the rebound. Ayabareno puts it back up, no good. DeLucia with the tip. Falls into the hands of Vince Contreras. Contreras with a quick restart to Burnett. Burnett over to Cash. Cash over to Contreras. Contreras saw about 3, changes his mind, drives in. Gets the ball over to Bullock. Bullock a little hook shot, no good. And that's going to be Ayabareno, the 6'5", 195-pound senior out of Jacksonville, North Carolina, right down there near the Fayetteville area, right near Methodist University. And that's going to be number 23, Ray Hall with the tray, no good. Contreras there. Contreras over to DeLucia. DeLucia over to Burnett. Burnett back to DeLucia. DeLucia over to Contreras. Contreras back to Cash. Cash looks over at head coach David Duino, gets the play. So Cash trying to drive in, well guarded by the Monarchs. Over to Bullock. Bullock well guarded by Whitley. Battle ensues for the ball. And so Methodist will get the ball. So you've got Henry coming into the game for the Cougars. Meanwhile, you've got number 10, Dante Jackson, into the game. So Jackson getting a touch right from the start. So Jackson right now with the ball. Jackson thought about 3, no attempt. Gets it over to Hall. Hall trying to, Ayabareno. Ayabareno into Garen Dearman, and there's the finish. And it's now a 2-point contest, 12:34 left. Jalen Burnett right now with the ball. Burnett driving up, great defense there by the Monarchs to swat that shot away. I believe that was Julian Carlton that came down with the big block. Harrison Cochran into the game now for Averett. So Methodist now on the inbound. It's number 10, Dante Jackson, the freshman guard out of Charleston, South Carolina. So Jackson is going to get that pass over to number 12, Dearman. Right now it is Hall with the ball. Ayabareno trying to drive in. Looked like he walked there. No good on the layup, but it's going to be number 44, Carlton, there on the putback. 14-14 now, 12 minutes. Quick restart for the Cougars. Timothy Henry. Henry having a little trouble with it there. Number 12, Dearman, with the ball now. So Dearman trying to make the Cougars pay on the other end. Dearman will get the ball over to number 23, Hall. Hall trying to drive in. Little scoop shot, no good. But he does draw the foul. So he will go to the line for a pair of free attempts. Harrison Cochran called for that foul. That is his second personal, Averett's second. And that's going to send, we've got a timeout on the court. Media timeout, I believe it is, but we're going to stay with you. And when we return, Hall will shoot a pair from the line. He comes in 87.1% on the season overall, 85.2% in conference play. As a team, right now Methodist enters this contest shooting 47.5% from the field. They come in a little less successful on the three-point end of things, averaging 29.1% a game, and also they are averaging 75.7% from the free throw line. So Methodist comes into the game averaging 80 a game, including 84.6 in the conference. Meanwhile, their defense is allowing 76.1 per game, including a 73.7 mark in the conference. Meanwhile, for the Cougars entered this game shooting 46.6% from the field, 32.3 from beyond the arc, 73.1 from the free throw line, and they are averaging 83.2 points per game while giving up 85.6. So that's going to be something Averett will look at changing moving forward. They did have a impressive game against the Panthers yesterday, which saw the Cougars shoot nearly 60% from the field. So it's going to be Ray Hall at the line now. As we said, an 80% free throw shooter. And looking to get Methodist its first lead of the game, and he does, 15-14 now. 11:42 left in the quarter, or excuse me, left in the half. Still in women's basketball mode over here. So Hall now will go to the line for his second attempt. Let's see if he can convert on the back end as well and push Methodist's lead to a possession. And that's exactly what Hall does as he continues his deadliness from the free throw line. 16-14 Monarchs, 11:41 left in the first half. So DeLucia over to Best. Best back to DeLucia. DeLucia over to Jamal Ford. Jamal Ford's pass is errant to DeLucia. So sitting up watching the game with my mom and dad last night, and my dad looked over at me and asked me if Ford was as tall in real life as he looked. And I'm about 5'11", and I said, well, Dad, I said, Jamal is about my size, and looked at the roster. He's actually 6'3", and there's a drive in there, number 12, Dearman, but he is going to get whistled for the charge. That is his first personal, team second. So far, 6 fouls between the two teams in the first 9 minutes of the game. So Kettner on the inbound. Kettner will get that one over to Best. Best back to Contreras. Contreras enters this game as one of the Cougars' hottest scorer. And a little pass into Henry, no good. Kettner there for the rebound, no good again. Henry and number 3, Rouse, both battling for it. Rouse gets the ball. He gets it down to Everett. Everett puts up a jumper, no good. And what a play there by number 24, Reese, as he just skies over Averett's defense, picks up the board, gets the tip in, and Methodist now has its largest lead of the game at 4, 18-14, 10:46 remaining. Contreras over to Kettner. Kettner over to Best. Best is going to pull up from the right side. No good. Henry, though, is going to pull down the board, but Henry cannot keep possession of the ball. It goes out of bounds. Had about 2 or 3 Averett players there fighting for that rebound, and the Cougars will definitely be looking to improve their communication under the board, as Henry had just had too many players around him trying to fight for possession, and it led to the turnover. So that's going to be number 10, Dante Jackson, pulling up, and Jackson drains it. 21-14, 9-0 Methodist run right now. 10:20 left to go in the half. Averett looking to try to stop the bleeding a little bit. Jamal Ford over to Kettner. Kettner puts up a shot from the corner, no good. That's going to be Best coming down with a big rebound. He'll get it out to Jamal Ford. Jamal Ford to Best. Best back to Ford. Ford into Contreras. Contreras over to Kettner. Kettner trying to drive in, well guarded, over to Best. Methodist right now playing tough on defense in its zone. So Ford, and that pass is tipped. Contreras is going to come through it anyway, and Contreras is going to draw the foul. And that will send Contreras to the line. Contreras comes in shooting 82.4% from the line this season. Pretty impressive numbers, and as I said, made all 11 of his free throws in overtime in a game, I believe it was Eastern Mennonite this year. So Contreras makes his first of two here. 21-15, 9:48 now left in the half. So number 33, Luis Patrick Mua, into the game now for the Cougars, and Matre Cash will replace Jamal Ford. So let's see if Contreras can nail the back end of his free throw attempts here to try to cut the Cougars' deficit to 5 midway through the first half. And Contreras' shot no good. Mua there for the rebound, gets it back out to Contreras. Contreras over to Cash. Cash, the freshman guard, who's had a big season thus far. Cash to Best. Best back to Cash. Cash to Kettner. Kettner inside to Contreras. Contreras double teamed right now. He's going to pull around for the jumper anyway. No good, and it's going to be number 24, Reese, there to pull down the ball. He will get it out quickly to Dearman, who shot no good. Rouse with the board. His shot no good. Kettner there with the rebounds. It's now James Contreras. Contreras gets it over to Cash. Cash over to Best. Best out to Kettner. Kettner out to Cash. Cash back out to Kettner. Kettner gets it inside to Contreras. Contreras back into Kettner. Kettner puts it up. And it's going to be number 44, Julian Carlton, coming down with that board. His pass to Demetrius Everett a little bit too much as the pass goes off Everett's hand and out of bounds. Looks like Jackson Whitley will be checking back into the game for the Monarchs. So meanwhile, Ian Best will take the inbound for the Cougars. He gets it out to Montre Cash. 8:53 remaining in the first half. Montre Cash is going to get that one into Mua. Mua with the turnaround, Jay, no good. And once again, Reese there for the rebound. Averett has got to figure out a way to start trying to box him out, keep him from getting those boards, where he is killing Averett right now, especially on the defensive end. And that ball is kicked out to Everett. Everett over to Whitley. Whitley, and there's Cash with a steal. Cash to Best. Best is going to go up, and Best, a hammer home dunk. 21-17, 8:16 remaining. And that's going to bring this Grant Center crowd to its feet. Number 3, Rouse. Rouse is going to get that one over to Jackson. Jackson into Whitley. Whitley being double teamed right now. Jackson now with the ball, gets that into Reese. Reese kisses it off the glass. So 23-17 now, 7:53 left. So Best over to Kettner. Kettner to Cash. Cash to Contreras. Contreras driving in. He does, and his shot is good, despite having Rouse's hand in his face. So head coach David Duino is going to take a timeout. We're going to take it with him here, but keep it locked right here on the Averett Sports Network. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Grand Center as we are getting ready to come out of this timeout. Right now, Averett with a 23-19 deficit. As the Cougars will look to start chipping back at this one a little bit and trim that deficit down by halftime. So Reese into Whitley. Whitley, a nice shot. Is going to grab his own board, put it back up, and he will draw the foul on the play. So Jackson Whitley coming in 6'9", 220 pounds, a senior out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Just a stone's throw away from Danville down here, an hour away. Also home of Methodist and Averett's fellow USA South Conference opponent, Greensboro College. So Whitley will sink his first shot. 24-19 is your score. 7:29 remaining in the first half. Whitley's second shot, good, and that's going to extend the Monarchs' lead back to 6. 7:26 remaining. Cash right now with the ball. Cash into Mua. Mua with nobody right now to pass to. Cash, and Cash is going to put up a long jumper, no good. And that is going to be number 10, Jackson with the rebound. And number 3, Brian Rouse with some high-flying action there to make it an 8-point game, 27-19, 7 minutes. Averett really reeling right now. Cash driving, he is fouled. Cougars are looking for a way to get some of the momentum back, and looks like you're going to have Timothy Henry and Jalen Burnett into the game for Averett. Montre Cash will go to the stripe for Averett. Here's Cash's first shot. It rattles out. So there comes Henry, Jalen Burnett, and Timothy Henry back into the game. So here's Cash's second attempt, and it's good. And it is now a 27-20 game. That was Averett's first point in just about a minute, in a minute span. So we've got number 12 now, or excuse me, number 15 it looks like. And number 12, Dearman. So Dearman gets it over to number 10, Jackson, who was trying to beat the press with a pass to Reese. But the pass goes right to Henry. Henry finds Cash. Cash drives in. No good. Contreras flying up for the rebound there. Contreras puts it back in. 27-22, and anytime Averett needs a basket, they can usually get the ball into the hands of Contreras. So Averett once again going with the full court press, and Contreras does a great job of drawing the charge on that play as Rouse is hit with the foul. That is his first personal, team 5th. And that is a big play as Methodist had done a great job getting the ball back over on the lob pass over the top of the Averett press. And so a great job of Contreras to get in there, establish his feet, and draw the foul. So Cash over to Henry. Henry back to Cash. Cash, or excuse me, to Bullock. Bullock to Cash. Cash to Henry. Henry back to Bullock. Bullock picks it up, but Whitley using his height and wingspan to come down with a huge rebound to give the ball back to the Monarchs. 27-22, 6:13 remaining. That ball is played over in the corner. Number 3, Brian Rouse. Rouse gets the ball over to Hall. Hall trying to make something happen here. Well guarded by the Cougars. That pass is kicked out to Dearman. Dearman driving in, and he will finish. 29-22 is your score. So Montre Cash trying to set things up, and as we said, Averett reeling a little bit right now, looking to try to get his footing back, and Henry's pass a little bit too much to Jalen Burnett, affectionately known as JB. So 29-22, 5:40 remaining in the first half. It's going to be number 22, Ayabarreno on the inbound. He will get it in to Hall. Hall trying to make something happen. Hall gets it back over to Ayabarreno, and Ayabarreno's pass goes into the Averett bench. Nice catch there by Austin DeLucia. And that's going to get the ball back to the Cougars with 5:33 remaining. Averett needing 7 points to tie, 8 to take the lead. Cash over to Contreras. Averett more than capable of it with its fast-paced offense this year. And Contreras to Cash, no good. It's going to be number 3, Rouse there, grabbing the board. Rouse trying to set it up on the other end. Rouse gets it over to Hall. Hall back over to Whitley. Whitley thought about a 3, changes his mind, almost loses his footing. Good job to recover there. So Hall now with the ball. And with more than 15 seconds on the shot clock, Hall taking his time trying to set things up. Gets that ball into Ayabalreno. Ayabalreno back out to Hall. And gets it into Whitley. And Whitley says, freight train coming through your house with a big dunk there. 31-22, 4:47 remaining. Contreras puts it up, no good. Contreras with the board. He's going to come back up again. And 31-24. And Whitley almost could have gotten hit with a goaltending call there, but the ball goes through the basket, and really Whitley got the net. He did not get the rim. So it's going to be number 3, Rouse now with the ball. Rouse gets it over to Hall. Hall trying to set something up, gets it back out to Rouse. Rouse puts up the tray from the right side. Nothing but the bottom of the net. Quick steal by number 24, Reese. And Whitley comes up and tries to finish, unable to. So Henry coming off the court after getting injured. So Whitley has been a big force here for Methodist so far, and Henry being helped off the court by 3 of his own players. So David Duino is going to use that time a little bit to regroup. And we're going to take that moment to regroup as well. We will be right back here on the Averett Sports Network. So Whitley's first shot falls through. It is now a 35-24 game for Methodist. Here, got about 4:09 remaining in the first half, and Whitley will sink both of his shots to make this a 12-point game. So Cash trying to make something happen here. Cash over to Best. Best back over to Cash. Cash over to Best again. Best over to DeLucia. DeLucia over to Contreras. Contreras over to Cash. Cash back into Contreras. Contreras shot blocked. So Best, and we've got a stoppage on the court. Gonna see what it is. I don't think there was a foul whistle. And actually there was a foul whistle, and it was number 11. So Jamal Ford back into the game for the Cougars. Actually, I think they're going to want to reset on the clock. I think that's what it is. It's looking like that now. Looked like a foul might have been called at first, and then, so not exactly sure. Contreras with the ball now. Contreras trying to make something happen. Trying to kind of get the Cougars some life here. No good, but he will draw the foul there. 36-24, 3:42 remaining in the contest. So Contreras will go to the line for a pair of shots. Let's see what he can do. And so Contreras' first shot goes through. 36-25 is now your score. $36-25. Contreras looking to hit the second of his free throws to get this back down to a 10-point game. And that's exactly what he'll do. 36-26, 3:42 remaining in the first half. Methodist has done a good job so far of working the ball inside, getting their shots, also getting a lot of follow-ups on both ends of the court. And look at that passing right there. And Whitley, another hammer home dunk. And 38-26 is your score. Best now with the ball. So Best gets it over to DeLucia. DeLucia over to Contreras. And Contreras is going to get hit with the double dribble. So 3:15 remaining. 38-26 is your score. Cougars held on to the lead for a good majority of the early part of the half. However, Methodist right now using its size advantage to pick up a couple of big boards. And we're going to have a timeout here on the court. We're going to take it with them right here on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Grant Center. 38-26, 3:15 remaining in the first half. Second part of this half has been all Monarchs. After Methodist was a little slow getting out of the gate, Dave Smith, though, really regrouped his team, though, during a couple early timeouts, and that's number 22, Aya Barreno, taking the shot. Whitley trying to get the rebound. Does a great job of hustling to get the ball back in play, but it goes to the Cougars. And Whitley almost gets the steal coming back down on the other end. That kid can do it all. So Ian Best driving up, no good. Whitley coming down with the board. So it's going to be number 22, Aya Barreno. Gets it over to Ray Hall. Hall trying to make something happen. A bounce pass over to Dearman. Dearman gets it over to Hall. Hall into Whitley. Whitley double teamed, and he's going to be forced into stepping out of bounds. Coach Dave Smith not happy about that. Not happy with his team. So 38-26, 2:23 remaining. So James Contreras now with the ball. Contreras over to Best. Best back over to Ford. Ford over to Best. Best to DeLucia. DeLucia over to Ford. Ford with the long ball, and Ford knocks it down. 38-29. And that's going to get Averett within single digits for the first time in minutes. 38-29, 1:53 left. Great time for Cash to come through with that big three. Mwua. And that ball is going to get back over to Hall. Hall trying to make something happen. Well guarded by this Averett defense. And that's going to leave Reese in the corner by himself. Reese's shot misses. So Ford and Aya Barreno, or Hall, each battling for the ball with the era resting already on the Cougars. It will go to them. But we've got a media timeout on the court. We are going to take it with them. 38-29 is your score. 1:33 left in the half. We'll be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. 38-29, 1:33 remaining in the half. And there's a long ball there by number 10. No good. Averett there with the rebound. It's a good shot by Jackson. Just couldn't get it to fall. Ian Best now trying to make something happen. So Jamal Ford now. So Ford is going to pull up the jumper. No good. Mule does a great job of out jumping Whitley there. And the ball goes out of bounds. So 1:02 left now. 38-29 is your score. It's Methodist on the inbound. So number 12, Dearman, will get it over to number 23, Hall. Under a minute now as Hall with the ball. Number 12, Dearman, back to Hall. Hall trying to make something happen here, trying to drive inside. And he will get that pass out to number 12, Dearman. And number 24, Troynell Reese. Looked like all sorts of walking going on down there on the half of the Monarchs. No call, though. So Ian Best. Best over to DeLucia. DeLucia is going to pull up for a three. No good. Whitley with the rebound. So number 23, Ray Hall now with the ball. He's going to get it out to Ayabarreno. Ayabarreno back out to Hall. So the final 5 seconds counting down here on the half. Let's see if Methodist tries to get off one final shot. They will, and it's going to be number 22, Ayabarreno. No good. Whitley there to collect the rebound and put it back, but the buzzer had already sounded on the half, so we're through the first 20 minutes. Averett with a little bit of work to do moving into the second half. Let's see if it can regroup and try to recover a little bit. 40-29 is your score. We're going to take a break, but we'll be right back here on the Averett Sports Network with the Kickback Jacks halftime show. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Grant Center. We've got about 7.5 minutes before we kick off the second half. Thank you for tuning in to the Kickback Jacks halftime show. We're going to take a look here at some of the game leaders. First, for the Monarchs, right now, Jackson Whitley having an absolute monstrous game. 12 points, 5 rebounds, including 4 on the defensive end. And that is where he has been the most dangerous on the offensive end or the defensive end of rebounds. Also, you've got Troynell Reese comes in with 8 points to also pace the Monarchs. Right now, Methodist shooting 45% from the field, 25% from the three-point range, and they are a perfect 10 for 10 from the free throw line so far in the half. Meanwhile, Averett has been led by James Contreras' 10 points. Also, Timothy Henry has 6 to go along. And right now, as I said earlier, the big difference in this game, Methodist right now just really using its size advantage to outmuscle the Cougars under the board on both ends, defensive and offensive. And really, it hasn't led to that big of a discrepancy in the stat sheets. Right now, Methodist out-rebounding Averett 23-18, but where things have really mattered, it has been 15 defensive rebounds for Methodist compared to 9 for the Cougars. Meanwhile, after having one of its hottest shooting games of the season last night, Averett is coming here only able to shoot 33.3% so far in the first half, 25% from beyond the arc. And meanwhile, they are shooting a solid 62.5% from the free throw line. But Averett is going to have to try to find out a way to drown out Methodist's big guys, especially Jackson Whitley, the 6'9 forward out of Greensboro, North Carolina. And also Davion Ayabareno has also been solid so far for the Monarchs. Right now, Ray Hall has 3 assists. Methodist has dimes on 7 of its first half baskets. Meanwhile, Averett with 6 assists on its first half baskets. Both teams even on the turnover mark with 9. And, I mean, right now it's just really the big difference is Methodist, their rebounding abilities, and then they have shot better from the floor than what Averett has. And on top of that, they have also been absolutely deadly, not missing a shot from the line. So one of the big turning points in this game, if Methodist holds on to win, would be the stretch there where they were able to hold the Cougars without a basket for nearly 2 minutes. And it really kind of helped Methodist overcome its early deficit that it faced in the first half. And so Averett has the capability to come back and put up points at will, as evidenced by its 108-point performance yesterday against Greensboro. The Cougars actually do have 2 games where they have put up 100 or more points, and they have both come in the USA South, with the first one coming January the 12th against Covenant, and then also yesterday 108 against Greensboro. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how the tides turn in the second half. Averett could definitely use the tides to turn a little bit more in its advantage. The Cougars shot especially efficient from three-point range yesterday, and I think that is what the Cougars are going to have to do if they're going to start allowing themselves to get back in this game. They're also going to have to start doing a better job of blocking out and not allowing Methodist just to kind of push its way around underneath the glass, underneath the net, and start collecting some rebounds. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another quick break, but in about 3 minutes and 23 seconds, we will be back with the start of the second half here at the Grant Center. And so, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back to the Grand Center as we are about ready to start the second half with Methodist holding on to an 11-point lead at 40-29. As we talked a little bit about on the Kickbacks halftime show, Methodist has used its size so far to out-rebound the Cougars, especially on the defensive end. And really one of the big differences in this game so far was the Monarchs' 13-9 run over the last few minutes of the half that helped them out to this 11-point lead. And the Monarchs were also a perfect 10 for 10 from the free throw line in the first half. Meanwhile, while limiting the Cougars to just 33% shooting from the floor and 66% shooting from the free throw line. But James Contreras getting things started off in the first half with a hoop to make it 40-31. So Averett was still plenty of time to try to make things happen and get itself back in this ball game. The Cougars do have the ability to score at will. So right now, Ray Hall with the ball. Hall gets it over to number 24, Reese. Reese gets it over to Ayabarreno. Ayabarreno into Whitley. Whitley, a nice hook shot, no good. Kedner with the rebound. Kedner over to Ian Best. Best gets it over to Cochran. Cochran pulls up for a jumper, no good. And it's going to be number 3, Rouse, coming down with a tip from Hall. That is, he will find Ayabarreno for the bucket, and 42-31 as Methodist increases its lead back to double digits at 11 with 19 minutes remaining. So James Contreras over to Henry. Henry over to Best. Best gets it over to Contreras. Contreras trying to drive in. Nice spin move, puts it up, and he gets it to fall. And a great shot there by Contreras, who was outmatched by about 9 inches, being guarded by Whitley there, but he does a great job to come over and get the basket anyway. So number 3, Rouse. Rouse with the ball, trying to drive in now. No good. Kedner tip goes to Cochran. Cochran with the defensive board. He's going to find Henry. Henry back to Cochran. Cochran almost got away with a walk there. So Cochran right now trying to set things up. Nice pick, and Cochran shoots the 3. No good. Henry doing a good job of blocking out Whitley, though. He will get the rebound. But Whitley will get the reach in. Should have been a foul on that play, but no whistle. And that's going to be number 24, Reese, going up for it. Looked like Contreras got a block. Looked like he got his hand on it, but the referee was saying that Reese was the last one to touch it. So the ball will go to Averett. Kedner on the inbound, gets it over to Best. So Best trying to set something up now for the Cougars. Best over to Contreras. Contreras is going to post up from three-point land. No good. Whitley with the rebound. Double teamed by Best and Henry. No good, though, as Whitley is able to hang on to it. Hall right now with the ball. Hall is going to get that one over to Ayabarreno. Ayabarreno trying to make something happen now. Or actually, Hall is now. Hall out to Ayabarreno, and Ayabarreno now has 4 points on the half, and Methodist has an 11-point lead again. So right now, both of these two teams taking each other's punches on the chin and trading shot for shot right now. So Contreras over to Cochran. Cochran driving in. Cochran puts up a shot. No good. Henry trying to get the board. His tip goes to Cochran. Cochran over to Best. Best posts up from three-point range. No good. Cochran doing a great job of reaching in. Got away with an over the back there. So Cochran over to Contreras. Contreras driving in. He puts it up. No good. Whitley there with the rebound. And Contreras gets whistled for the foul on the reach-in. 44-33. Averett just needing to keep his composure right now. The Cougars are a second-half team. As long as the Cougars can just keep their composure and get a couple of big defensive stops, they can get back in this. Cochran on the shot from Hall. So Cochran over to Kedner. Kedner back over to Cochran. Cochran had a couple of big threes in the game against Pride yesterday. Henry over to Contreras. So Contreras, he drives up, and Contreras will convert. And it's a 9-point game in favor of Methodist. So number 23 right now, Hall with the ball. Hall to Ayabarreno. Ayabarreno into Whitley. Whitley well guarded by Henry. No good. Hall bringing down the rebound, and Ayabarreno, and we were talking about it, Averett has got to figure out a way to start boxing out the Monarchs underneath, or otherwise Averett is going to have a hard time working its way back into this one. Best over to Contreras, and the pass is errant. And the possession will go to the Monarchs. And we're going to have the first timeout of the half, it looks like here. We've got a media timeout, and we're going to take it with them right now. Methodist holding on to a 46-35 lead, 15:40 left. We'll be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, we're back here at the Grand Center. Methodist holding on to a 46-35 lead, 15:40 remaining in the contest. It's going to be Hall on the inbound for the Monarchs. He gets it in to Dante Jackson. Jalen Burnett into the game now for the Cougars, along with Austin DeLucia, Averett's three-point guy. Ayabarreno there with the pass to number 10, Jackson. And that is going to be Ayabarreno trying to launch a three. No good. Cochran with the rebound. So Cochran with the ball. Cochran, a nice spin move, driving to the basket. No good. Whitley once again there for the rebound. He will get it out to Dante Jackson. Jackson calling the play. Jackson to Whitley. Whitley over to number 24, Reese. Reese gets it into Ayabarreno. Ayabarreno over to Hall. And there's a shot from Hall, and he'll get it to fall. 48-35, 14:36 remaining. Contreras now with the ball, trying to get it back down. That is over to Ian Betts, or Jalen Burnett. Burnett to DeLucia. DeLucia to Contreras. Contreras back to Jalen Burnett. Burnett over to DeLucia. DeLucia back to Burnett. Burnett over to Henry. Henry going up against Whitley, and Henry, I thought Henry was whistled for that foul, and it's actually Whitley getting whistled for the block. So LP Mua into the game for the Cougars, who face a 13-point deficit right now. Looking for a way to start getting itself back into this game. Still plenty of time left on this clock. Cougars lost by 10, 81-71, their last trip. The last game in their trip to Fayetteville. DeLucia over to Jalen Burnett. Burnett back to DeLucia, and there's a shot clock violation as Averett unable to get the shot off in time. So 13:41 remaining, and I think they're going to want a clock reset, or no, they're going to leave it as is. So Averett right now coming out in the line defense. 23, Ray Hall with the ball for the Monarchs. That ball will get over to Dante Jackson. Jackson gets it into Hall. Hall over to Ayabarreno. Ayabarreno thought about posting up for three there, changes his mind, back to Hall. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Hall, and he's going to get whistled And actually, it will be an Averett foul. LP Mua getting called for the foul. Looked like a walk from up here. So Montre Cash into the game for Cochran. 13-15, 48-35 Methodist. Number 10, Dearman. Dearman gets it over to Hall. Hall inside to Ayabareno. Ayabareno to Whitley. And Whitley thought he had the foul, but. And they are going to call the foul. So number 23, Hall. Hall gets that one over to number 10, Dante Jackson, into number 22, Ayabareno. So Jalen Burnett now. Burnett over to Cash. Cash over to DeLucia. DeLucia over to Jalen Burnett. Burnett trying to drive, make something happen, and a little hook shot behind his back, no good. Ball deflects off of Whitley, and that's going to go out of bounds for an Averett ball. So 12:45 remaining. 48-35 is your score. Jalen Burnett on the inbound to DeLucia. DeLucia with the quick pull-up three. Another Burnett. 48-38 now is your score. Let's see if Averett can get back and get a stop on defense, something it has struggled with today when it's able to get big buckets. As right now, Hall with the ball, showing some fancy footwork down there. Hall, a long pass over to Dearman. Dearman doing a good job going up and getting that one. And Jalen Burnett getting hit with the block. That was a charge all the way. I don't know where the referees were on that one. They sure were not in place to make that call, but Methodist on the inbound. Ball inside to Ayabareno. Ayabareno puts it up, in and out, and now the referees decide to break out the whistle. And it's now a 50-38 game with 12:19 left. Seen quite a few poorly officiated games here so far. The first one in the women's game, the second one in the men's. So Ayabareno stepping up at the line. His only shot, no good. Mua gives it over to Cash. Cash over to DeLucia. DeLucia back to Cash. Cash to DeLucia. DeLucia pulls up for three. No good. Mua with the rebound. Put back no good. Whitley grabs the board. Whitley double teamed right now. Ayabareno with the ball. So Ayabareno inside to Hall. Hall inside to Whitley. Whitley puts it up. That basket is good, and another missed call there by the referees as Whitley obviously walked. So Contreras back over to Cash. Cash over to Jalen Burnett. Burnett over to DeLucia. DeLucia puts up a trade. That's good. 52-41. Referees really missing a whole bunch of calls on both ends of the court. Methodist has been the victim of a few missed calls as far as Averett. And really the big victim has been traveling. So Kettner and Henry into the game for Averett. So we've got another timeout here on the court. We're going to take it with them. Methodist in front, 52-41 with 11:22 remaining. Keep it locked right here on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. 11:22 remaining in this contest, 52-41 in advantage of the USA South Conference leading Monarchs of Methodist University. Methodist looking for its 10th USA South Conference victory of the season, as the season is actually headed down the stretch right now. So number 10, Dante Jackson with the ball. Jackson, the 5'11 freshman guard out of Charleston, South Carolina. He's going to get that one out to Dearman. Dearman trying to make something happen. Well guarded. Whitley, a nice pick. Dearman sets up, shoots, and scores. 54-41 now. 10:59 remaining in this contest. So Montre Cash. Cash trying to slow down the pace a little bit. Cash over to Contreras. Contreras trying to drive in. Whitley with the block. There's a shot by number 3, Rouse. Board collected, but a steal and a putback on the other end. And 56-41. Kettner over to Cash. Averett really looking like a different team today as it came out against a good Pride team yesterday. Cash driving, no good. And the ball goes off of Whitley, out of bounds. Hasn't exactly been the best officiated game either, as both sides have been the victims of some pretty terrible calls. So DeLucia over to Contreras. Contreras over to DeLucia. DeLucia over to Kettner. Kettner into Henry. Henry, no other option but to shoot, and he will finish 56-43, 9:55 remaining. So it's going to be number 10 now, Jackson, trying to set something up for the Monarchs. He's going to get the ball over to number 12, Dearman. Dearman just had a big bucket a second ago for the Monarchs. Dearman driving in. He's going to put up. His shot falls, and it's now a 58-43 game. 9:36. Cash driving down. Cash too hard. Whitley with the rebound. Whitley gets it over to Jackson. Jackson, a nice pass to Hall. Nice pass under the basket by Hall to Rouse. And 60-43 is now the score. So Cash. Cash, a little bounce pass to Kettner. Kettner gets it inside to Contreras. Contreras goes to put up. He does. And it's back to a 15-point game. So let's see if Averett can get back and get a stop now. It's something the Cougars have needed this half, as they have come back and shot a little bit better, especially from the floor in the second period, but unable to get the stops on defense that the Cougars need as well. And it's still a 15-point game in favor of the Monarchs. So Roush driving in. Nice play there by Cash. Whitley puts it up, and there's the foul. So Whitley will go to the line. 60-45 is the score. Whitley's first shot falls in, 61-45. So Ford, Cochran, and Vince Contreras into the game for the Cougars. LP Mua in for Timothy Henry, as Duino pretty much switching out his whole team with the exception of number 2, James Contreras. So Whitley at the line, and he will hit his shot, 62-45. So we're going to see number 44, Julian Carlton, come back into the game for the Monarchs. So Cochran coming down with the ball. Cochran into Contreras. Contreras double teamed, and he will, and that's going to be number 3, Rouse, called with the foul. That is Rouse, 4th personal. 2nd team foul this half. And so with Rouse one away from disqualification, Ray Hall will come back into the game. So Contreras on the inbound. Contreras over to Cochran. Cochran a little bounce back into Contreras. Contreras puts it up, and Contreras will draw the foul, as it's number 22, or excuse me, number 12, Dearman getting whistled for the foul. His second personal, third team of the half. Contreras will, will go to the line to shoot two, with his team trailing by 17, 8:21 left in the half. So Contreras puts up his first shot, and it's good. So here comes Contreras' second shot. And that shot is good too, 62-47, 8:20 now remaining in this contest. Averett switching over to its press, trying to get Methodist into the 10-second violation. And number 24, Reese, comes down with a huge dunk. 64-47, 8 minutes. Cochran, too hard of a pass into Contreras and off of Contreras' fingertips. And head coach David Duino wants a timeout. We're going to take it with him. We'll be right back here on the Averett Sports Network. And welcome once again to the Grand Center. 64-47, 7:59 remaining. Davin Wilson here on the call. Methodist, after starting kind of slow out of the gate, has really come back and put together a complete performance. And it has led to a comfortable 17-point lead for Methodist for the Monarchs, getting late in this contest. It's number 12, Dearman. Dearman trying to make something happen. A little toss out to Jackson. Jackson over to number 24, Reese. Reese's shot no good. That's going to be number 23, Hall. So Hall driving in. Nice pass into number 24, Reese. And 66-47 now, 7:10 remaining. Jamal Ford back into the game for Averett along with Cochran, and Ford's basket makes it 66-49 now. And so Cochran doing a nice job of getting his hand on the inbound pass, but unable to control it. So possession will stay with Methodist. Meanwhile, Jalen Burnett checks into the game for the Cougars. The inbound pass, Averett playing in its press. Jamal Ford, triple team going here, and as it looked like Jackson and Carlton had hooked up for the alley-oop right there, but Jackson's pass a little bit too high over the head of Carlton. 6'6", the 6'6" Carlton. So Jalen Burnett trying to drive in. The ball is stripped by number 24, Reese. Reese gets it over to 12, Dearman. 6:33 now, 17-point game. Reese over to Carlton. Carlton not able to finish. Averett with the rebound. Cochran. And Cochran's going to pull up from long distance, and that's going to hit off the top of the goal, resulting in a stoppage of play and Methodist ball. Methodist a 17-point lead right now. Austin DeLucia in for the Cougars. Big difference in this contest has been the discrepancy in rebounds as Methodist has just outsized the Cougars. And it's led to points on both ends for Methodist. And what a play there by number 23, Ray Hall, to drive in. 68-49 is now your score. Contreras is going to put up for a shot there, and he will draw the foul. Foul whistled against Reese, his first personal. Team fourth of the half. Will not be a shooting foul though. Forward over to DeLucia. DeLucia gets it over to Cash. Cash back to DeLucia. DeLucia inside to Henry. Henry with a nice spin move, puts up, no good. And that's number 22, Ayabareno, with the rebound. Number 23, Hall now with the ball. Hall, a little underhand toss to number 12, Dearman. Dearman gets it back out to Ayabareno. Number 10, Jackson now with the ball. Jackson over to Hall. So Hall driving in, and he will get hit with the travel there. Giving the ball back to the Cougars with 5:15 remaining. So Ian Best comes into the game for Averett. As Averett is looking to try to come back from a 19-point deficit with 5:13 remaining. So Cash out to DeLucia. DeLucia out to Henry. Henry driving in. He will fall. Cougars keep the ball, though. Contreras there to collect, and he will put back, and it's now 68-51. So you got number 12, Dearman. And so Contreras getting whistled for the foul. And that's going to send Dearman to the line. It's Contreras' second personal, team sixth. Dearman's first shot off the back iron, no good. Coach Dave Smith not happy about that one. So Dearman with another shot. And that one will fall, and it's now 69-51. So Jackson Whitley back into the game for the Monarchs. So Cash trying to make something happen. Over to DeLucia. DeLucia to Contreras. Contreras back to DeLucia. DeLucia to Contreras. Contreras with the jumper, and he floats it in. 69-53 is now your score. So Ayabareno right now with the ball for the Monarchs. He will get it out to number 23, Ray Hall. And Whitley just stand there like a statue until it's time to move off the ball. It's number 23, Hall. He will get it out to number 24, Reese, who will nail the three. And it's now a 19-point game. Cash over to Best. Best back over to Cash. Cash over to DeLucia. DeLucia puts up for three. DeLucia gets his shot to fall, and that cuts it down to 16 points. There's a timeout on the court. 72-56 is your score. 3:55 remaining. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Final 4 minutes getting ready to unfold here at the Grant Center. Methodist in front by 16. Methodist with a quick pass down the court to number 3, Rouse. And Rouse makes it an 18-point game at 74-56, 3:44 remaining. So Ian Best over to Contreras. Contreras over to DeLucia. DeLucia is going to pull up for 3. No good. It's number 24, Reese, with the rebound. It's going to be number 10, Jackson. Jackson gets it out to Ayabareno. Ayabarena's shot no good. Reese is there to collect, and Reese hits his putback. 76-56, 3:19. And the tide started to turn for the Monarchs there near the end of the first half. And Vince Contreras puts up a 3 from the right side. No good. Whitley almost ended up dunking that one as he comes up for the big rebound. Really the big difference. Methodist put together a 13-9 run there at the end of the first half that allowed it to get out to a double-digit lead. And the Monarchs have not looked back since. Ian Best doing a nice job there to strip the ball. Contreras touches it back over to Best. Best driving down, and the basket is good. 76-58, 2:36 remaining. And Contreras will come in and slap that one away, but the ball goes back to Methodist. So we've got number 14, Bryson Davis, entering the game for the Cougars to go along with number 50, big man Mariba Diaby. And we've got a media timeout here on the court. 2.5 minutes left in this one. Methodist in front, 76-58. Keep it locked. We'll be right back here on the Averett Sports Network. And once again, we are back at the Grant Center. 2.5 remain. Methodist in on cruise control right now. It's an 18-point difference. Methodist will have the inbound, as it's going to be number 22, Davion Ayabareno, with Best in his face. And we have all sorts of pulling going on down there, and no call. Hall. And that ball is stripped by Best. And number 14, Davis's pass just a little bit too much. Methodist will keep possession. It looks like Cochran is going to be entering the game for the Cougars. And he will come in, or excuse me, Will Shoemate into the game for the Cougars to replace DeLucia. Shoemate, 6'5", 185-pound forward. And Rouse over to Whitley, and Whitley another hammer home dunk. 78-58, 2:13 remaining. Unless something dramatically happens here, Methodist will pick up its 10th USA South victory of the season. Diaby puts it up, and it's good. 78-60 now, 156. Meanwhile, Averett will drop to 3 and 6, and Ian Best comes up with a big block, just to give the Cougars a little bit of momentum here heading into the final few minutes. And in the meantime, Averett and Carlton back into the game for the Monarchs. So Averett on the inbound, Diaby smacking it away. And so TJ McAllister and number 32, Carrion Ullin, in the game for the Cougars. So Averett right now with 3 freshmen out on the court as Duino's just trying to give everybody some reps. With the outcome of this game all but decided, so Hall will get that one over to Averett, who just entered the game. Averett knocks down a big 3, and it is now 81-60, 128. So TJ McAllister will put up for 3. His shot no good. Diaby got a finger on it, but it's Hall in the end coming down with it. Hall still with the ball. Hall trying to make something happen. So 102, and that's going to get it over to Averett. Averett gets it back over to Hall. Hall puts up his shot, no good. It's going to be number 44, Carlton, with the rebound. Carlton, no good. Shoemate coming down with the board. Ian Best now. Ian Best gets it over to number 32, Ullin, and Ullin is going to get his basket. And he is fouled. So he will go to the line and shoot one. 81-62 in favor of the Monarchs, as they have just been too hot from inside tonight. So we're going to have Weaver, Whitley, and Shoemate or Steve into the game for the Monarchs. Ullin's shot does not fall, but the ball does go out of bounds. Averett ball. And actually it wasn't Whitley entering the game. It was actually Stormy Flincham, the sophomore freshman out of Rockingham, North Carolina, into the game. So Ullin on the inbound. Ullin will get it out to Davis. Davis's 3 does not fall. Ullin with the rebound. Davis. Ullin puts it up, and Ullin is fouled going up. 19.9 seconds. Don't really see much of a reason to call that a foul at this point in the game. With the outcome already decided, Methodist a 19-point advantage right now. 19.9 seconds left. So Ullin's first free throw is good, 81-63. See if they can make the second one here, if Ullin can. And Ullin does, knocks it down. It's now a 17-point game. Methodist on the inbound, facing the press, and that's going to lead to a turnover and a McAllister bucket. 13.8 remaining now, 81-66. It's going to be number 15, Andrew Steve with the ball. Steve gets it over to Jackson, and Jackson's just going to let time expire off the clock. So Methodist, an 81-66 winner over Averett. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Averett Sports Network, and we will be back with some more action coming up here next week. Keep it locked on the Averett Sports Network.